Every media house trying to do its work alone, but we agreed that as a sector we would come together and do joint collaborations so that we are able to occupy our space during the electoral process, and also try to do things together so that we are able to move the industry forward. So the project was the election project. It was led by KEG, and it was donor funded by the Open Society Foundation and also by the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office. And it was premised on a lot of things for the media. Most of it, we wanted that the project should focus on things to do with accuracy and fact-based reporting, to enable journalists to be impartial and accountable and responsible reporting. And we had objectives of strengthening the capacity of journalists, bloggers, and editors to report fairly and accurately, factual and timely electoral data to citizens, and then to strengthen participation in democracy through monitoring and countering disinformation. Right? So, in order to do this project, there were critical steps with the people in this very room, the members of the Kenya Media Sector Working Group. So we led participatory activities of the working group to, first of all, build consensus and work together as a group. We were told here by the CS that it's best when media works as a unit and not as fragmented. So we came together as the Media Sector Working Group, and the critical steps also involved establishing strategic partnerships with civil society organizations and the duty bearers, chiefly the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, as well as the Office of the Political Parties, ORPP, the Registrar of Political Parties. Then we embarked on training of reporters countrywide and also some industry collaborations, including setting up of a fact-checking desk, and also some of the activities that were to be included there included the Media Talent Center at the Bomas. So this began with the journey of the Kenya Media Sector Working Group, revamping this group that was working as just an amorphous body. So this group got together and agreed in Manzoni in 2021 that we were going to move together and work together as a team so that we are able to boost the capacity of the industry. All right? And then, so after Manzoni, that marked the beginning of that journey of the election, of election coverage. So in 2021, in June, we reached out to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to begin a partnership. How then do we work together with the IBC to enable them to be giving timely information and also to enable journalists to be able to learn on the electoral cycle? Then in August, specifically on August 9, which marked a countdown towards the August 9, 2022 elections, we had a meeting, an industry meeting, then to cement this partnership, where a team of editors was also nominated to help to chart that course. All right, those are just some of the activities of the industry at Manzoni, bringing together the 21 associations that make up the Kenya Media Sector Working Group. All right, then the strategic partnerships with the various offices began with meetings to build consensus and to look for how then we can move together. So that meeting had the various duty bearers, including IBC, ORPP, and even the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. All right. Then, with the IEBC, we got into an MOU that would enable release of information, that would enable better sharing of information with the IEBC. And this was again signed by the members of the Kenya Media Sector Working Group. All right. So the other strategic partnerships involved joining with the civil society groups. There was a civil society group drive to bring on board an election situation room, which ideally was supposed to enable sharing on information among the civil society groups on what was happening in the field. So there was a control room where members of the public were able to post real-time information, and then the members of the civil society groups were charged with verification through their teams on the ground, verification that whatever was being posted was actually what was happening on the ground. So that was the election situation room. And the issues that were being monitored there included ballot materials, whether the stations were opening at the right time, whether media was given access to the stations, and also monitoring for fake news and information. So that was activities with the civil society groups. Then within the Media Sector Working Group, we organized training of reporters across the country. Remember, being a cycle every 5 years, and media being a very an industry that has high turnover, so people will have left in 5 years, and therefore very new people will have come on board in 5 years. So that meant that there were very many new journalists reporting on elections for the first time, and this countrywide reporting focused on newsroom management, newsroom safety, constructive journalism, and fact-checking. And then we partnered with the IEBC as part of that MOU. So IEBC was coming on board to speak about the legal framework, the electoral cycle, the polling stations, and the processes in there, including the materials, as well as election technology. So the training countrywide were organized based on the former provincial administration units. So we went to the counties. We went to the former provincial administration regions, that is Coast, Northeastern, Central, Rift Valley, and we got journalists from those areas to participate in those topics that were being taught, including safety and security, fact-checking, and newsroom management. All right. Yeah, so those were some of the teams. Those are some of the teams of editors and journalists being trained. Okay, we are, in all the trainings we tried to get on board equal representation. So we tried as much as possible to get on board. There's always less women journalists being trained. So we have to look for ways to bridge that gap. There was also a focus on community radio stations, vernacular stations, and we did 6 trainings, and these were marked out based on reports from the NCIC. They were marked as hotspots. Okay, so these included Uasin Gishu, Kisumu, Mombasa, Kericho, and Nairobi. So trainings took place, and then we also held mentorship sessions for the vernacular station journalists in those regions. Right. Then we also held a session with court reporters, with the Court Reporters Association of Kenya, because getting into an election period means that after the elections, there will have to be complaints and petitions. So that training focused on election petitions. in collaboration with the Judiciary Training Academy and the Office of the Chief Justice, the judges of the Supreme Court of Kenya were training journalists in that session. So we also had the Media Center was created to enable journalists report effectively from location. So this was located at the Bomas of Kenya. Okay, and so we were able to get on board. It had a small capacity, like 50. It had 50 computers and other